everybody, Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady, here with my trusty co-host, JC.
Wendy, it's a pleasure to see your face today and listen to your angelic voice. Really puts me over the edge. Yeah.
You must be over the edge if you called me angelic, but thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You know, hey, I want to talk to you and with you today about HR technology myths. And I want to debunk some of these myths and get the facts straight. And to be quite honest, I'm not an expert at this. So we've brought in an expert guest, Tricia Shields. Hi, Tricia.
Hey, Wendy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. So you are a CHRO at Naviant. What does CHRO stand for?
So Chief Human Resources Officer.
That is awesome because I thought it was Chief Happiness and Resource Organizer.
Ooh, I like that.
Wouldn't it be awesome if we could just make everybody at work completely happy and thrilled with the HR department at all times?
That would be nice.
It's never going to happen, Wendy. People hate HR. They don't trust HR at that, too.
Not at Naviant.
Not at Naviant? Well, that's a good thing, I guess.
Their HR department
this
at
is
Naviant.
Good. Probably because you got good technology and software. Yeah.
It could be. Yeah. HR is you either love them or you hate them or a combination of both. And I'd say that's probably true with every department, to be quite honest. But let's skip over that right now because we don't have any psychiatrists here today. But I want to jump in and just talk about, HR technology in general. Some of the myths that I've heard is, that HR technology replaces humans and the HR managers. Is that true?
I always like to say that it's people that are open and willing to adapt and learn about HR technology and be innovative to what it brings is actually what's going to replace people that are maybe more hesitant to that. So the concern is not, in my mind, the concern is not technology taking over. It's the way that our work is changing as it relates to technology and the inability to keep up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, my rule of thumb is I do a lot of training in AI and it's like, okay, AI or technology in general isn't going to replace HR or human in HR, but it's probably going to help them get some time back, right? Oh, JC has a question here.
Get your time back or don't get your time back. That's cool because you're a big business that can do all this stuff. HR automation is only for large companies, though, right?
No.
Come on.
Absolutely not.
The small business. How does it, Tricia, how does this fit into the realm of small business? Seriously.
What I would say is even within a very small organization, we're all utilizing technology, whether we recognize it or not. And even some of the standard applications that we work with have technology components built into them that we're probably not utilizing that we could. So you're right. There's very large applications of technology that maybe are more adapt to really large or mid-sized organizations. And you should be focused on your organization size when you're thinking about technology. But as a small company, there are products available and even technologies that are already available to you that you probably could be using.
Yeah, but Tricia, HR automation is so expensive, though. This is another one of the myths, but is there any reality to that? Come on. It's true.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think there's a cost, there's like a cost component, certainly, but I think learning what your ROI, your return on investment is for the technologies is a huge component to it. It's something we've certainly spent time on as we're adapting new technologies is what could the technologies do that frees our HR pros to do the work that is better suited for the human element? And how much time does that save us from needing to do those pieces? And the technology, as we've seen kind of time and time again, the cost savings is absolutely there to support implementing technology.
I love it. I love it. I love technology and I hate it, right?
Right.
It's like we're so addicted to technology. It's like, oh, this is saving my day. But then if it goes down or something happens, even if the internet just goes down for a little bit in your area because of a storm or whatever, after we're stuck, we're like, we don't know what to do now because we don't know how to do it the old school way, or maybe we just don't want to. How?
Well, I think, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking, and I think it is kind of figuring out the right components of technology because in where to utilize it. Because that's such a good point. Like, do we know kind of the core components of HR and the work that we do? And are we trying to use technology to replace those pieces? I don't think so. Like, I think it's still the human component that's doing the strategic focus pieces, the human connection pieces. And I feel like the technology pieces are more the automation, who's just moving the data around, the data management pieces, and more of those non-strategic focuses. So figuring out like how you're going to utilize technology and for which pieces, I think still keeps us in kind of the core work that we've always been doing in HR.
And when done right, it still gives you that opportunity for personal contact with individual employees with maybe even a little bit more time behind it, as long as the technology is doing what you need it to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. Do people need to like get certified or trained to use HR technology? Or they just wake up one day, I'm going to figure this out?
Yeah, I think they just wake up and figure it out. I think it's two things. So I think one of them is aligning with really strategic partners. So there's so many technology partners, in the technology space, HR and otherwise. So finding the right partners to align with that really specialize in the areas that you're interested in, maybe utilizing technology more. So maybe HR specific. And then the other piece is, I think, just leaning into it a little bit, like even, listening to podcasts or finding articles on LinkedIn. There's so much information out there from people that have stepped into it even further than we have. There's so much to learn and so much information out there. So I think just starting to not be afraid of, how big and complicated this looks like, and just some of those initial pieces that people can take to get familiar with the technology.
Yeah, you're bringing a thought immediately to my mind. I got to hit you with this, Tricia. So thinking about the myths, continuing on with the myths, and it's right now, the time we're recording, 2024. There should have been flying cars, but don't get me started. But we have AI, right? So AI in HR tech, it takes extensive knowledge to use that, right? And recruitment, AI-driven recruitment leads to a loss of personal touch. I mean, these are a couple myths I'm hearing out there from friends in the industry. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. I know. I think that's, and I don't know if I don't think it's always a generational thing. I think it certainly can be. I know for me, and my degree is in IT, and I found my way into HR, but
no way.
Even with that, I think, speaking to like generative AI, like that to me seemed like such a complex concept, and I'll kind of wait until that comes my way. And then just doing some initial inquiry with my team, finding out they're already using it. And especially, again, I don't know if it is generational. It certainly is in a lot of the examples I see. It's like this younger generation that's kind of opening my eyes to, okay, there are a lot of ways that we can apply these technologies, and it doesn't have to be that complex. So yeah, I think there is a perception that it's like too complex, but start listening to folks around you within the HR space that are already using it. And I think people would be surprised at how many ways that they could start applying some of these technologies.
I'm looking at a statistic here. A study by PwC found that 37% of HR leaders express concerns about the technical proficiency of their workforce in leveraging HR technology. And I'm shocked it's not higher, to be quite honest, because we have so many, as you were just talking about, so many generations in the workforce, and some of the younger generations might easily pick up on using it as a user, but not necessarily as an administrator. Like they know how to use the technology, but they don't know how to put the data in. And, that's not really age-based. It's just the fact that you need to be trained. You need to be trained on how to actually use this technology. But things like, let's get specific of what kind of, our listeners are mainly in the HR space, or they're one of their million hats is wearing an HR hat. Recruiting alone, HR technology can help you with the 100 of job applicants that just applied overnight at a touch of a button that now you have to somehow respond to. You have to go through the resume. You have to respond to, versus before may have been an email coming in here and there, or, oh, that paper application or that paper resume coming in. And those things are just insane because now you got to scan them in and it's all over the place. And then they end up, the resumes, the applications end up in no man's land or everybody's land. And therefore nobody acts on it. I mean, what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. Just thinking about, people are in kind of different places, I would say right now in the recruitment space, as far as the availability and number of candidates that they're trying to manage. Some people are just kind of dying to get more candidates in and still really struggling in that space. But you're right, not only for the candidate management, but also just how are you branding yourself to your candidate pool externally? How are you, pushing your job requisitions out? I mean, a lot of these technologies have the capability to do that in way bigger ways than we've ever seen them done before. And then it's unbelievable the candidate management capabilities of ATS technologies to integrate with, background checking services, assessment tools, offer materials through like DocuSign and some of those types of e-signature technologies to even help with making better decisions about the candidates that you're bringing in. And I mean, there's, when we talk about the scalability piece as well, like there's so many different types of offerings. So if you are a smaller organization, there are absolutely ATS technology applications that are catered towards that market that also have a ton of those types of capabilities, as well as things like data management and AI and automation.
Yeah, I love it. And, I'm sorry, JC, 1 second.
Yeah.
I like to always start with recruiting because we all do it, right? If you have 4 employees or 4,000 employees, recruiting is usually the thing that, gets us stuck because everybody's recruiting and everybody's going after the same limited pool of candidates. So let's make our recruiting, our applicant tracking system a little more special so that people go, hey, this company actually knows what they're doing. Go ahead,
Absolutely.
No, just thinking about the technology end of it all, the evolution of HR, and then the digital credentialing aspect when we're thinking the ATS systems and the possibilities of how we've seen it from many other specific vendors in the industry as well as certifying organizations providing verifiable digital blockchain-based credentials that employers now have the opportunity to use. And then these ATS systems being able to ingest that, and then you have something verifiable in your hands, even though maybe the candidate's not from here. Maybe they're from someplace crazy like Topeka. Who knows? But yeah, you've got a verified ID that's digitally based in your fingertips. It's just kind of wild. But I want to throw something at you, Tricia. This is straight from the Harvard Business Review, talking about this HR technology and everything. The article, ladies and gentlemen, just came out only 4 hours ago. This is hot off the press, but this is paraphrased. Quote, in the realm of HR tech and AI, peer-to-peer employee recognition programs could actually capture moments of connection, providing valuable data on employee skills, collaborations, and key contributions across your company. HR teams can use generative AI-powered cultural intelligence to analyze this data, gaining real-time insights to improve talent management, identify star performers, and maximize your business results. And fire the losers. No, it didn't say that at the end. It didn't say that at the end. It didn't. I added that for humor. And I'm doing the hand inflections for fun, too. But no, seriously. AI, generative AI, peer-to-peer employee recognition. There's a lot going on there. Tricia, what do you think about this?
Yeah, there was a ton there, certainly. And I love that was hot off the press. I haven't read that yet, but I agree. And, you even think about an organization like Naviant, we're 100% remote. And so we need to figure out ways to keep our employees engaged, recognized, motivated. And it's through programs like these employee recognition programs, the development, talent management, all of those components. And I would even say from a technology perspective in HR, this has been maybe not as strong of a space that we're seeing huge momentum in as far as what are all those components that you mentioned of the employee experience? How are we managing that? And how are we using that as an organization to make really sound decisions about our current work population? But also, who are we bringing into the organization? What are we learning through some of that data about our existing population that maybe we want to start to replicate more of that and try to find ways to measure that with our candidates as we're evaluating them coming in. So I think we've even just scratched the surface of this. I don't know that we have, I think there's a lot more to come as far as the robustness of tools that are going to be available for us in that space.
Ethical integrity too. Wow. You think about that.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. I mean, the AI is amazing and scary at the same time, but even without the AI aspect, just the aspect of using some kind of technology system, again, whether you have 4 employees or you have 4,000 employees, so that you can, pull reports and start doing an analysis. It's going to help you run your business better. It's going to help you and your managers and your employees say, hey, I need help. Things are good. Things are not good. Like, we just need to make it as simple as possible. So with that said, Tricia Shields, thank you so much for coming on today. Any final words of advice for our listeners?
No, I guess, yes. I would just say, with all these debunking things, just kind of encouraging people to start connecting with their fellow peers. In the HR space, let's connect with each other and talk about technology and kind of move through this piece together. So I love that you guys have had this segment, and hopefully it's encouraging to others as they listen.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. One side note here before we wrap up. If you love JC's radio voice, did you know that he is an experienced event MC? If you need an MC for your event, reach out by visiting jimconnors.net. We hope this information has been helpful. Thanks for joining us. Take care.